Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Rick Snider's Washington. All right, so Rick Snider's Washington, the 1 hour live chat. Nobody's here yet, so I'll say the normal stuff the algorithm wants. Thanks for coming to Rick Snider's Washington. Please share, subscribe, comment, like, and hit the thanks button most of all. If you're watching on replay, thanks button is basically like tipping me. And here we go. First person's actually here. Michael's here first. Thanks, Michael. Hopefully it goes better than last week about that crazy person writing stuff. Um, but otherwise, it's me and you for the next hour. Oh, wait a minute. You're gone. There you are. Okay. You still there, Michael? There you are. Yep. All right. So we're just a few minutes out before everybody else gets here. And been one of them busy days. Okay. All right. So, all right, and two people are here. There you go. Where we have two people gathered, but it is 5 minutes early. I'm thinking we might have a few more people this week just because they won. So maybe people want to come. And if they don't, well, whatever. So I would say buy my book, but I'll save that for a little later. Because the new book it did come out. So I'll show it when there's a few people on here. All right. Let's see. So if you're out there, several of you are now gathering. Just fire off your questions, and I guess we'll just hit it for the next hour. Then I'm going to go watch Game of Thrones new spinoff, whatever it's called, Dragon. I tell my wife I basically do is football from about 36 hours from Sunday morning to Monday night. It's just I sleep a few hours in the middle, and it's pretty much a 36-hour cycle. And they say, "Don't you watch Monday Night Football?" I'm like, oh, I can't take it anymore after this. 36 hours is enough time to do it. But hey, yesterday was a fun day. Just waiting for a few people to come. There we go. Steve's back. All right. And okay, here we go. So let's see. Steve says, I got my book in the mail today. Thanks. Yeah, I saw you ordered. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad it got there quick. I mailed them Saturday. So, if you live in the Mid Atlantic, they tend to get there in a day or two. Media mails, what they're called for books, and it's a little cheaper in first class, and they get treated pretty well too. All right, Michael wants to know Davis absolutely got torched trying to cover Kirk. Yeah, I got that one. This is going to be a weekly problem. Yeah, probably. I don't see him getting any faster. I think he plays a little better. Yeah, his best play got negated by a penalty, which he hit the snot out of somebody. I go back and look and see what it was, but I thought, oh, that's a shame because that was a really good play by him. So he's getting better, but yet he can't cover a fast guy. I don't know. You're going to have to. I guess you're just going to have to get some sprinter out there who can cover, a tight end or somebody crossing the middle. It seems to burn them repeatedly. Maybe they're starting to do it to other people a little bit. If you have a good tight end, man, it's such a big advantage. I mean, I kind of learned that with Gronk. They could, and I'm certainly watching people do it to Washington. It's just such a weapon that most defenses just can't handle. But there are no, and this team's got a bunch of tight ends, so they ought to really do well with it. I think this time. All right, 7 people. All right, guys. So go ahead now that a bunch of you have started. Here we go. Good. I'm glad. I was hoping to set a record tonight. See how many people come. So as we start, let me just start with the first group because anyone only lasts 15 minutes. New book is out. The 100 Things Commanders fans should know and do before they die. You can get it there on my website, monumentalthoughts.com. I'll sign it for you. It's the only way anybody's going to get it signed. Not that I wonder why anybody cares, but okay. So it's got it's like the old Redskin book, but it has 5 new chapters, took out 5, updated a bunch of stuff. A lot of you never saw the first one either. So, if I retire, I could use a nest egg or something. So if you want to buy it directly from me, you can buy it from Jeff Bezos. He needs the money after the rocket blew up, but, I would appreciate it from my end. All right. Abe says, good evening. Thank you, Abe. Appreciate you coming on everything. I think we're gonna have a big group tonight. Officially, we don't start for another minute, but whatever. Oh, I got my bell here too. All right. All right. Michael said, I see this side of defensive tackle, but it's nobody you really know. And that's true. It's a guy who was undrafted out of Michigan. Okay. He tried to make the Steelers, didn't make the cuts. So it's a start, something. There you go. 8 o'clock start. And they may sign another defensive lineman and put him on the practice squad. That's what Rivera said today. So what a shame for Mathis. 3 snaps and hurt. I was like, what is it with this stuff? I mean, Sadiq Charles was something like he played like 2 snaps and was hurt. Man, I feel for guys. You spend your whole life to get to the NFL. Here you go. Exciting first day. Boom. Season-ending injury. And had a torn meniscus. So that injury you usually can come back from. So, but we'll have to see him next year. That's just such a shame to see that happen on everything. All right. So, yeah. And Fitzpatrick, I don't know how many snaps Fitzpatrick made. He made more than 2. But, yeah, it's last year's Fitzpatrick. Here you lose a guy. I mean, yeah, if they lost Carson Wentz the first game, I would have thought, man, this place is just jinxed. Good atmosphere at FedEx, probably the best atmosphere in many years. Reminded me a lot of the RFK days in a way of, the team won. They were dominating at times. Big crowd. I mean, there wasn't but a few thousand Jaguars fans there from what I could see on the colors. So the crowd said 58,000. I would think it was about 50 or so. So I won't quibble over the attendance figure, but it was everybody all in, and they were chanting "Let's go Redskins" a lot, which is fine. I mean, the Commanders are undefeated as a franchise, so you got to like that. And I'd say maybe 80% of the crowd that I noticed had the old Redskin jerseys on, but that'll change in time. And trust me, they had 13 clerks working the team store, so they were pumping out gear. But overall, it was and it didn't even rain all day like they were supposed to. So. Let's see. Marcus says, I have to figure my headphones and audio setting. Okay, you'll be back in a minute. Oh, there you are. You have a good question, though. So, all right, maybe I'll steal it for another day with Ron. I could always use a good question. So, overall, the stadium, I swear, the parking lot smelled like one big rib, being cooked. And I wouldn't say that all the time. I remember it's the first time I think I've ever really felt that at FedEx. It just smelled like I was walking through a rib factory, which is pretty cool, except nobody said, hey, Rick, come here. Stuff. I've had people offer me a beer as I walk through, but I can't drink and then go into the press box. So you guys are there to drink. If you get there early, it's like $6.75 for a beer. It's probably a 12-ounce can, but it's a little cheaper. And Michael says he thinks they'll sell more good stuff with a better logo. I know people don't like the W. W is hard. Like the Washington Nationals don't have a very good one either. W is not a sexy letter to curl around as much. I don't know. All right, Jimmy Justice says, Jay Davis looked bad in coverage. Was it that or was it for real? Yeah, he just can't keep up with somebody that fast. And at times you wonder, well, why have him in a spot that he can't do on there? So I think he got better. I think he's doing some things better, but he's never going to be a great one. But if he can be a decent one, that's fine. Sheldon said, anything surprise you about the team Sunday? All right, I'm not one for nicknames, but I want to throw this one out there. Darrick Forrest made some really good plays. First game as a rookie safety. So I'm going to call him the Dark Forest because bad things happen when you venture near the Dark Forest. We'll see if it sticks. I doubt it. People already asked me what nicknames for the receivers. Let's give them a few days before we compare them to Monk, Sanders, and Clark. So I did like him on there. The foot model. I'm sorry, foot model. Great. Okay, that'll be a meme. After, do you still give Wentz a D grade? I'm sorry, but I totally disagree. Okay, I give out flash grades on my Twitter, Rick Snider's Washington. I've done this either for when I started the Washington Times or whatever, since 1985. I've done this. So I know I have some experience with it. It's a gut feel flash grade. And I normally just don't look back. But I will say I would go to a C. Looking back at it today, I really penalized them a little bit too much for 2 touchdowns with 2 interceptions that went for touchdowns later. That's 14 points and they lost the lead. That's huge. I know you throw 4, but those were 2 killer mistakes. But all saying said, yes, I would probably go to a C, but I would not go to a B. Um, okay, let's see. Hank Hartman, will Curl come back this week? No better on Wednesday. I would say maybe. Sorry, that's the best I can give you right now. Wednesday is when we'll really get the health updates on a lot of things. Dave wants to say, what about the mugs being sold with the wrong state? I've actually seen that happen other places. They get made in China or something, and they say, oh, Washington. And, there was once a player Washington drafted in the 70s, I think it was, or 80s, who thought he was going out to the state of Washington. So it's not, they're not the only one to make that kind of mistake. I heard once it got shown on Twitter, they snapped them all back. So it'd be hard to find them, but why not? Yeah. So it's just one of them things. Let's see. Paul Green said, I read they tried to buy government ground in the Southeast for a new stadium. Yeah, I looked at that about 6 months ago. But there's, as everything else, it's a federally owned. It's got a lot of environmental problems. It's on the river, pretty much just across the river from Nats Park. And I thought, hey, that would be a good location. And then people told me about all the problems. And the city council just doesn't want to fund things. So the way it goes. Hey, by the way, since some of you are new, the thanks button down below, it's somewhere down here. There's a way of just throwing me a couple bucks. If you do, I appreciate it. You guys were very generous last week, and I give my time directly so fans can connect. But hey, I'm getting near retirement. I need a nest egg, so you can. I always appreciate anything like that. All right, Marcus says, what do you think about NFL teams having their own media teams? It seems really weird. Yeah, I mean, it's been. I saw the first ones in the late 90s, but really teams didn't embrace it to the last few years. And then last year, the Commanders figured it out, and they have a very good media team and video. I give them credit, which makes my life harder because they're fulfilling your needs. But and I think they've been pretty balanced on things. I don't have any right to criticize them. I think they're okay. But listen, when things get weird, the independent media like me is the ones that are going to tell you the truth. But they've done a very good job. It's very entertaining stuff. And so I remember the NFL owners meetings I would cover in the 90s. The owners would say, we had a discussion about the internet. Well, we don't really know what it is, but they say it's going to be big. And now, they're all in on this stuff. So interesting. Let's see. Michael, those are boneheaded throws you can't make against good teams. Well, true. I mean, I have to be honest. I thought Trevor Lawrence would be better. Hey, Robert, type your question again for me. This thing goes really fast sometimes. More people, more questions. Sorry about that. Can't always get to all of them, but do it again. Abe says, play calling showed improvement. Yeah, I mean, you weren't going to see these things in the preseason. They hit Dotson in the preseason. They want to show people things. So I thought it was a very good game plan overall. There was a couple plays I would have, the reverse that got buried and things like that, but that's a minor quibble. Alexander asks, what's my favorite sports book of all time? Well, I just wrote this one. No, I'm kidding. That's a good question. Maybe Paper Lion, about the guy who was a reporter and went and played for the Lions for a preseason. That's a good question. I'm not very good at those. I'd have to really think about it. All right, Marcus says, NFL team media. Okay. Augustine the King. Woo, love that one. Carson Wentz threw a pass to every skill player on the team. Pretty much. Diami Brown didn't get one, but I don't know how much he was on the field. But they did a great job. And that's what they got to do with this team. You got a lot of weapons. You got to use them all. Okay. Marcus said, did we pick up Donovan Jeter? Yes, that's the guy from Michigan that they signed today. And that was Robert. Okay. So, yes. Had a nice career at Michigan, didn't get drafted, didn't make the Steelers. So I think he's as good as anything you're going to find right now, for a bargain. Okay. Mike, was Terry happy or mad that he's going to be seeing less? Terry's a real team guy. I'm sure he just wants to win. He's gotten paid now. So Terry's all for the team winning, and so he's not going to be upset about this. All right. Sheldon says, Wentz is Wentz. He'll wow you, and the bad stuff makes you wonder what he's thinking. Yeah. Ooh, a better version of Sexy Rexy. Sexy Rexy throw pick after pick. He wouldn't throw too many good ones, and Carson does throw good ones too. So that's good. Well, Grandizer's back. Great to see you. Thanks for coming. How goes the move? You probably see the boxes behind me. Yeah, it's going slow. Moving next month. And hitting the like button to show support. Appreciate that. What I think of the new uniforms, Kenny asked. I think the burgundy is the best of them. The black ones is like the Steelers or Raiders. I'm not big on them. And the whites, okay. Let's see. Robbie G says, hey, Robbie G. Green, okay. Bob Baker. Oh, there he goes. Bob Baker, one of my buds. No question, but just popping in and say hello. Okay. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. You're appreciated too. We're all trying to be nicer in our old age instead of me yelling stuff at people. Wonderful people watching. Let's get Rick over 20 likes. Yeah, sure. Well, let's hit the thanks button. That's what really Rick likes. I know I sound like a whore just asking for money, but the media business is going poorly. I lost 80% of my writing business to the pandemic and never came back. I have a feeling I'm getting another pink slip soon from somebody. So, and then I'm going to fade away. So we'll see. This is where you'll find me. All right, Michael says if Wentz gets the timing down those deep balls, yeah, I mean the one he threw to Terry. The great thing that the receiver should love about Carson, he doesn't get them hung out to dry very much, like sometimes Heineke did. They can catch the ball and keep running instead of getting nailed quick. Augustine the King, I gotta steal that. Overall, Wentz has gone farther than Heineke would have on that. I think he probably can advance them more. Granddad, did Rick ring the bell already? Yeah, once, but for you, there you go. Some of you have never seen the bell. It's just I stole it off my hotel counter. Nah, never. I bought it. If you want to start a show, you can invest $5 in the bell and $5 on markers, and you got a show. Everybody should take a walking tour, says Kenny. They're as fun and very interesting. Yeah, most times they're true. So I do work as a tour guide in DC, and I have all kind of weird tours. And you can go to Monumental Thoughts and see them there too. On there, been a little slow this year, but that's the pandemic. Let's see. Kenny says, when was the last time we saw Washington receivers catch a ball already on the move? Yeah, that's the whole key to everything. Robbie G threw in the tip button. I appreciate that, Robbie G. Why did DC stop calling the same game in the third quarter? Keep running the same place till you stop them. Yeah, coaches sometimes outsmart themselves, and I swear, most of the time it's not who wins games, it's who loses games. And the other end of that is why didn't Del Rio change up his plan? Because they solved it there for a while, and he never really changes to things and adjusts. And that's the problem I have with him. Marcus, what's the ratio to male to female commanders cheerleaders? Probably about 5-1. There's like 4 guys, I think, 4 or 5 guys, and at least a dozen women on there. I didn't really count them, but that's about it. And especially like the old cheerleaders are just dressed more wholesomely, I think. And they do some acrobatic stuff. Hank Cartman, the offense, the Lions offense or defense, one would give us more trouble? The offense. I mean, they got a balanced attack. Goff can play well. They got a good running back. I would think their offense, is enough that's going to give this defense a hard time. Do they have any chance against the Lions? Asked David Rogers. Sure. I mean, right now, Detroit's a 1-point favorite. But I'll probably pick Washington to win. I mean, who fears the Lions? Paul Green, Scott, we should have kept his feet on the gas instead of those trick plays. Yeah, like I said, sometimes you outsmart yourself trying to be cute. Okay, Augustine King. Am I related to Dan? No, we spell our names differently. I spell mine with an I. And for all his money, he spells his wrong with a Y. What can I tell you? All right, Sheldon T. The defense is extremely worse. Unfortunately, the Jags had some bad drops. True. Jags are better than they showed yesterday. All right, Abe says, trying to take it week to week, but week 3 Philly is going to be a good one. Hope the fans will fill more seats. That's interesting because, about 50,000 Washington fans came. They probably had a good time. Team won. You think they'd come back. And I'm sure a lot of Philly fans are going to want to buy tickets as always. But the last few years, Philly fans have been like 80-90% of the crowd. Maybe it's more like a 50-50 this time. Robbie G said, game shouldn't have been so close. You're right. They should have, Washington should have pulled away on them. When they were up and they had that turnover, they were going to finish the half. And I was thinking, get a score here to 21, you break their backs at halftime. And then they fumbled, so it didn't work out. Who has a stronger arm, Schrader, Williams, or Wentz? Asked Kenny. Wow, that's a good question. I want to say Schrader on that. Schrader had a good arm. People didn't like him, but he had a good arm. Any word on John Allen? Asked Ronnie. John Allen says he's fine. They did an MRI just for precaution, and they did an MRI on Schweitzer today too, as a precaution on a hamstring. John Allen's a tough guy. Even if it hurts, he'll play. Paul Green, how was the turf at FedEx after the rain? Seemed fine. I didn't see anybody slipping or any of that stuff yesterday. It didn't rain. It rained early in the day, but by 10 a.m. at the latest, it was done raining. All right. Grandizer, am I available to collab with a few Lions content creators before this week's game? I maybe. Why don't you send me a message over on Rick Snider's Washington? Well, Snide_remarks at Twitter. Send me a message there. DM. All right. Smack City 26. Like that. Biggest concern is stopping the run. It's going to lead giving up the big plays. Yeah, because you saw Jacksonville rip off a few. To open the game, I think Jacksonville opened with 5 straight plays for first downs. It was like, well, they're not fooling around on third down conversions. It was weird. But then they adjusted to them, so great. Sheldon, Butler still looks a little lost out there at safety. Hope the light comes on. True, I saw, there was one play especially. I thought, wow, Percy, what happened there? I haven't seen all the replay yet, but I was surprised. He's going to have some growing pains, but he does have talent. Pilkey D says, my friends with APS players. Yeah, quite a few. We don't hang out all the time together, but guys don't have to do that. Daryl Green, I can talk to him whenever I want. And Daryl and I are the same age, so I think we kind of clicked about that. But a lot of guys, Trevor and Sharp Adonish, and a lot of guys. But I've never been buddy with players while they played so much. I like the guys, but it's work, and I separate work and the team. Because guys who do that don't last long. If they try to make this some personal thing, they don't last long. I can tell you that. Hey, but good to see no Gibson turnovers. I thought they utilized them very well. This is what you're going to see more of, and even more of it when Brian Robinson comes back in a few weeks. I think Robinson, from what we're hearing, hopefully he'll make it back for Game 5 on there. So it looks like sooner than later for him. Okay, let's see. Grandizer says, yeah, we got over 30 likes. All right, great. Appreciate that. Do they bench Fuller this week, asked Paul Green? No, because they don't have anybody better. Let's just start with that. No, don't see that. And Hank said, with the injury to Prescott, does that leave the NFC open, or is Philly the team to beat? Well, Philly's the team to beat, but that doesn't mean that they get to take it automatically. Yeah. And somebody was just texting me about a pink slip. Great. Okay, so do I think Cole Turner will be an X factor down the stretch? Yeah, losing the preseason, KJ, I think hurt Cole's chances of having an impact early, but I think he will have one, and it'll probably be later than sooner. When you lose the preseason to an injury like that, it's hard to catch up real quick. Great, you don't have Twitter? You don't have Twitter? I think you can send me a message somehow. I don't know. Anybody else here know how to reach me? I'm not giving out my email over this, or Facebook or any of that. Maybe there's a way to do it here. Let's see. Maybe the Lions guys know how to do it. Okay, holding strong for our Commanders down in San Antonio, says Joe Castles. Great. I went to San Antonio once, and they said, well, the Alamo's not that big. And they were right. I'm standing right in front of it going, where's the Alamo? And I said, man, the guys that held this fort for a couple weeks, when a good SWAT team today would be in there in 10 minutes, those guys were tough. And it'd be a river walk, all that. It was 100 degrees the day I was there. But other than that, San Antonio is a great place to visit. Michael says Jackson's the one who was really off his game this week. Yeah, I thought he played poorly. I thought both corners played poorly. Please give a grade on the DBs and the linebackers. DBs, I think I gave a D. I'm not sure. And linebackers, I think I gave an F. And maybe I was a little hard on them, but not much. Oh, Michael says you can email me using my link in my YouTube profile. Okay. Who knew? Sorry. I am not the most tech savvy guy. I'm amazed I do this kind of stuff and do it as well as I do. They make it for morons to use, and so I prove it. Okay, so Robert G was surprised with a comment. Okay, Sheldon, coaches say anything about Armani Rogers? Yeah, Rivera talked about him today, and he's really happy with him, and he should be. The guy's making plays. He's looking good. I mean, the tight ends, and they've got four good tight ends. I mean, Bates is more of a blocker, and he dropped one coming to him, but he's still a solid player. And so they're going to be tough with all these. I could see him running. Man, can you run two tight ends with three receivers and just forget running the ball? Maybe. KJ, another thing is we're not signing big name defensive tackle because you got to pay Payne and Sweat. True on that. And you also didn't, well, okay, first week of the season's over. So the guaranteed stuff is over. When you sign a vet for opening day, you pay him all season. Now, week 2, you don't have to do that. It's week to week. So you might see some big names coming on the rosters this week. How long for Chase returns? Asked Paul. Well, he has to miss at least 4. My guess would maybe the Chicago game, I think, is the 6th game, something like that. I could see him coming back for Chicago in the Thursday night game on there. Robert G, the Riverwalk talk about. Yeah, Riverwalk, if you've never been to San Antonio, it's a canal with just a bazillion good restaurants around it and fun. It's a fun place to go. Michael, okay, everyone stop whatever you're doing and pray for Curtis Samuel to remain healthy. Okay, amen to that. Everybody remain healthy. If nothing else, the pandemic taught us that good health is everything. And as somebody who was laying on the ground and couldn't move 6 months ago, I can tell you that. And it ended up being my back, of all things. But good health, man. The older you get, the more you value it. Okay, Shelton's looking for Scott's 4 tight ends, 1 wide receiver set. Zorn would have done it. Right after the swinging gate play. All right. Granddaughter said, just drop my cell phone number here and we'll call you. Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's a good one. Sure. Okay, here it is right here. It's okay. These are my 2 granddaughters. They both graduated from kindergarten. Well, preschool. Now they're in kindergarten. I have 4 grandkids. Somebody's always crying. Sometimes it's me. It's like being in a bag of cats with that. All right, we got a few more people in normal. Good. Let's see. Robbie G. They're going to have to limit Curtis Samuel in practice. I think they do a little just to kind of rest him. That's the biggest thing. Jeff Delaney. Yeah, Jeff's back. Okay. Curious. Washington was winning in the early 40s. Any idea why Sammy Ball didn't serve in World War II? No, I don't ever remember seeing a reason for it. That's a good question. I'm got to go back and look. They won, the 42 championship, 37 also. They had a pretty good team. But man, World War II was just they would draft the 1940s drafts would be like 40 rounds. And you might get 5 guys to show up. The rest were going in the military on there. I'll tell it. Remind me later. I'll tell another story about Sammy Ball in World War II. I would do it now. They didn't when they Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. The Redskins were playing a game, and the owner didn't want to announce it to the crowd because he feared they'd all leave and wouldn't eat hot dogs. But after the game, the team found out, and Sammy Ball led a bunch of players to walk to the Japanese embassy, which was probably a couple miles away. And they were going there to kill the staff. They were seriously going there for menacing. But the cops beat them to them and grabbed the Japanese embassy staff because we needed to trade them for the U.S. embassy staff in Japan, which they were traded about a year later. So they couldn't let Sammy and those guys get him. But otherwise, Sammy Ball was ready to go kill somebody over this. He was a tough guy on everything. All right, let's see. KJ. Gibson looked happy in his new receiving role, more comfortable being used like McKissick. I would agree. And so I wonder, how can you have McKissick and Gibson both doing the same kind of role? That's what I wonder. McKissick got some chances and did well with them. So that's a really interesting thing. What's going to happen there? Let's see. Sheldon says something about funny. It's funny. I don't know. I'm doing so fast. I can't be funny. Any chance we trade Taylor Heineke to Dallas with Dak out for a while? Asked Steve Moody. If it wasn't Dallas, if it was an AFC team, I could see a chance of that happening. But not in the division. No. Could you imagine that? Oh, man. And I'm not sure what you'd get for him. I mean, you like the ransom guy. If this was, the Chargers, you could take a shot at it because he wouldn't haunt you as much. All right. Granddad just says the legend has it I covered Sammy in World War II. No, I was covering softball back then. It wasn't as big a deal in the NFL. How would I rate Dax Milne in his return game? Asked Hank. I thought he did very well. He had two good punt returns. I like it. I still, you see DeAndre Carter scoring yesterday on TV, and you're like, why didn't you keep him? But uh, what I like about Milne too, catches the punt, run straight ahead. Okay, that's the whole point. Don't be going because you ain't got time for you gotta go. And I thought he was good at that. So Dallas is going to have Garoppolo or Kaepernick next week. Michael says. Well, San Francisco might be reluctant to trade him inside too, especially with their problems. Sheldon, I'd let McKissick run some of Samuel's roles at times to give him a break. Yeah, I would agree with that. Robbie G has a question. All right. Are we going to pick up a linebacker soon? Don't think so. I think you play with who you have at this point. Do I like the Manning cast? I asked Marcus. I have seen it. I think it's great. If I'm watching the game and I don't care which team wins, I'll sometimes listen to them instead because it's just a refreshing thing. They're both funny guys. Jerry's going to have to do something to stay in the news, says Steve Moody. Yeah, it's dangerous when Jerry's got to do that. I love it. Jerry gives things like injury reports and all when Dan Snyder hasn't talked to us in years. And I like Jerry. I've talked to him a number of times. Okay, KJ, Scott Turner's seen better play calling. Well, when you have better players, you tend to have better play calling. What can I tell you? Catch any of the Eagles games? No, I didn't. It's hard sometimes when I'm at the stadium. Don't get to see a lot of it. I watched some of the Bucks games. A little boring, but it was kind of fun to watch. Bob Baker got to run. Come on, Bob. You can't run. Yeah, well, I mean, you can't run away from this. But Bob's a great guy. You should be with the team. So treat him well in the comments. Steve Moody, easier to call plays with double the weapons? Yeah. I mean, triple the weapons. Really, last year they were down to Terry. They didn't even have Logan left at that point. They were down to nothing. I find it interesting. Jay Gruden's is on 106.7 The Fan on Mondays, commenting on this team now. I just never seen a coach do that. Do I have any new Commanders items? Asked KJ. Well, I do. I have a brand new book, The 100 Things Commanders fans should know and do before they die. You can go there on my website, findyourmetalthoughts.com, and order it. I'll sign it. Other than that, no. I haven't had a chance to. I'm not a big collector of things. I have very few Redskins stuff, a little bit, but not much. Somebody gave me Mosley's jersey. He was my favorite player growing up. So I do have it's the first jersey I've ever owned. Okay. Rick, can you give us either a 1 or 3 Commanders players stock up and down? Ooh, let me think about that for a minute. Robbie G says Carter's from the West Coast and said he wanted to go home. I suspected that's what it was because it wasn't money on there. Any great Sam Huff stories? Asked Paul Green. I have a million Sam Huff stories. We could talk about that for an hour. I love them. One thing Sam loved was horse racing. I go off of football here. Loved horse racing. I'd go out to his place in Middleburg. He wanted me to see this horse he had. This horse was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was the tallest horse I'd ever seen. They couldn't get his head. He had to lower his head to get out of the stall. He was so tall. Didn't run worth a lick. But he was the tallest thing I ever saw. And Sam would always get mad when we tease him about that horse. Sam did a lot of things. He used to tell me in business, after he was a player, he had to learn to be nicer to people in business because he'd approach it like a football player and he scared the hell out of them. So that's why he had to really dial it back. But man, you make Sam mad up to his dying day, pretty much. He could knock you out. I mean, I saw him a few years ago. I went to go see him. Physically, he was still good, but mentally, all those hits. I used to eat lunch with Sam, and he would suddenly grab his head, and he says like a lightning bolt hit him. And, so we know, I'm sure he had all those problems they talk about. Great guy. I wish him well in the hereafter. All right. Michael says, impressed with the pass protection. Yeah, I mean, it was, it bent, but didn't break a lot. So that's positive. Any chance the Cowboys sign RG3? Asked Hank. I don't see that one happening. Michael mentions I do have a Sam Huff video out there. It's way back in the archives of YouTube, but you just type in Sam Huff and you'll see it. And Marvin Gomez is back again. How about those Commanders? Yeah, man, they're undefeated as a franchise. Hey, it beats losing. I mean, I that's the kind of game that's going to make a difference from them maybe grabbing the wild card or the division. You win those kind of games, you go to the playoffs. But they usually lost those kind of games and stayed home. So that's the great part of that game is you can do it. All right, let's see what else I have. And don't forget, some of you are rotating through the thanks button. I appreciate it. Throw a couple bucks my way. I'm going to retire in a few months or whatever, and or semi-retire. You never know. I may have to. We'll see what happens. But 44 years, nothing lasts forever. Trying to grab my money on the way out the door, and that's why I do YouTube. I make a few bucks from YouTube too. Hey, it's all about money in the end. You got to eat, especially now with everything costing so much. I've officially become the old man who remembers sodas for a nickel. My wife told me something for our new home was going to cost 7 or 8. I said, "Wow, it's going to cost $700 or $800." She goes, "No, $7 or $8,000." I fell on the floor again. It's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm one of those guys now, so I could, throw some extra cash coming for the hour. I appreciate it. All right. Marvin thought you left the stadium early, thinking you were going to lose. Naughty, 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 naughty. Got to stay for the end. Well, I do a video trying the stadium food, asked Paul. No, one, I'm not paying crazy money for food, and two, it's bad for you by and large. So I'm not putting any money in Dan Snyder's pocket like that and eating stuff bad for me. That's a lose 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 wheel. $6 for people talk about $16 for a beer, and I think that's crazy too. Even if it's a big beer, the $6 for a bottle of water that costs about 25 cents at Costco. Now that's the criminal act. I would refuse. I'd go 3 hours without eating. You guys have eaten in the tailgate already. I won't do it. All right. Dallas is going to get Johnny Manziel, says KJ. Well, he would certainly fit the Cowboys image. Come out there, money. That would be funny. Robbie G, miss Sonny and Sam on the radio. We all do. And Frank. I loved, traveling with these guys and hanging out with them on the road back in the 90s. I did it a lot in the early 2000s. And they were great. Taught me so much. Sonny and Sam taught me a lot about football from a player's perspective. Any player, if you ever get to really talk to them about plays, it's like they're, computer IT guys of what's happening on the field. They can talk about so many things on the field you don't even think about. It really is a technical game in some respects. I'm not a big analytics guy, but sometimes they talk about stuff like this. And so, yeah, they're really great to talk to. Anytime you meet a player, you can ask them those kind of things. My daughters, when they were teenagers, used to date guys, and the guys knew I was a sports writer, and they try and say something about football to impress my daughters. So I told my daughters a question to ask them. I said, "Can you explain the cover 2?" And I said, if they try to explain it to you, they're a bunch of liars, and don't date that guy again. So, it'd be cleaning my gun at the table. You want to talk to my daughter, boy? But luckily, both my daughters married brilliant and wonderful young men. So I lucked out on all that. All right, Sheldon said, I wish Ron had kept DeAndre Carter. Yeah, I think we all do. But if DeAndre wanted to go back home, that's what free agency is for, so you can go home and go play where you want. And he can find a good spot. Steve says Logan Paulson does a good job breaking down plays. Yeah, he's been really good. I mean, he's the next Cooley. Maybe it's something to do with tight ends. But he's done a very good job. KJ, when I got home for a home game this year, the best seating area for my money, where is it? Well, I would say midfield, but you want to be at least a dozen rows back. Don't go down to the bottom in the dream seats because you can't see over the players and everything. It's much harder to see down there. So move up mid first section is a good. I mean, if you got the rich people seats in the middle, really not a bad price because they give you free parking and food now. Those are decent. I mean, I can't imagine why you'd sit inside on couches and watch the game on TV when it's right outside, but whatever, it's your money. Do what you want. I'm big on it's your money. Do what you want. When I go to a home game, I'm sorry, Marcus, I've warmed up to the idea of NFL media teams. I mean, the Commanders have some really funny video where like they ask players questions all the time walking by. And once the players understood the joke, they've actually done some really funny stuff. How worried about the Lions game? Asked Paul. Yeah, it's kind of a pick. It's almost a pick 'em in a lot of respects. Have a better feel for it Wednesday to Friday. You get to see how a team reacts to things. What's the health, that kind of stuff. So really by Thursday's a good, insightful day into seeing where they are on things. So it's only Tuesday. Oh no, it's not Tuesday. It's Monday. So I have a few days before I figure that out. You see a lot of Jamin Davis covering Hawkinson asked, honest brute. Well, I think they're going to have to, but I'm not saying that they would like it. I mean, do you play a Buffalo nickel there? I'm not sure. That's tomorrow. I'm going to look at that. Monday is all about Sunday, and then Tuesday is all about the next game. Football, I've learned to be like football players. You look at the next game, and there's a cycle to the week. And after doing it all these years, I'm just stuck in that cycle. Tuesday is kind of like a half off day and half look ahead day to get ready for the rest of the week on there. You don't really get any time off, get a few hours off covering a team as a beat guy. I'm not a beat guy anymore, thank God. But I used to work 80, 100-hour weeks covering this team right up to when I had a heart attack at Redskin Park back in 02, 20 years ago this month. And I had to take it a little bit easier. All right, Brandon says, Swift's going to tear us apart. Career day coming for him. Glad he's on your fantasy team. Well, your fantasy team is everything, right? So, or else you're a betting team now. So now everybody wants to bet on games too. I went 4-8 my picks on Saturday, so I'll be doing it this week without my shirt because I lost it during the game. On my bets. It's a joke, but you'll see what happens. Sort of like I did OnlyFans video without my shirt because they said take off your shirt, and I thought it was weird, but okay. And then I realized it's not this. The fans aren't sports fans; they're somebody else. Okay, what was my grade on the O line? I don't know. What did I give them? I'm probably not the greatest of grades. I tend to see the mistakes more than I see the wins. I'm a hard grader. Been doing this for 27 years. I don't give out participation trophies. Michael Westbrook, he was probably the only player that really used to look for my grades. And when I got an A, when he gave him an A, he just loved it. He didn't get many A's. And Michael and I were not the best of friends. I'd love to see him today, see how he's doing. But Michael's like near 50 now or something, which is crazy. But I'd love to see how he turned out. I don't know. That was the most complicated relationship I think I ever had with a player. And he used to curse at me all the time and all kind of stuff. But he's also very thin-skinned too. So, Michael, if you're out there, sorry what happened. Call me. I don't know how. You can hit my YouTube email. That's what it say. Is Carson Wentz legit? Asked Marvin. I think he's as good. I think he's a top 15 to 20 quarterback. On a given day, he's in the top 10. On a bad day, he's in the back 30. Things kind of come and go, and you never know what it's going to be. But overall, I think he's a 15. He's in the middle of everything, and that's okay. If he has this year is worth not just a $28 million to him this year, but if they decide to keep him, his next 2 years are $20 million each. He actually drops. And so this year is worth another $40 million to Carson. He's getting the 28 anyway this year, but this season it's $40 million to him because if he has to be cut and he joins another team, he's going to make 6 to 10, something like that. So there's a lot of money here at stake for him too. JH loves me. Thank you, JH. Appreciate that. Better than people hating me. A lot of people hated me today on Twitter because I didn't give Carson Wentz an A. I'm sorry. I'm not giving out A's to somebody who throws 2 picks for the 14 points and almost loses the game, even if you come back and win the game. He did well. I like Carson. I think I have been defending him as better than people expect. I think the national narrative, these national writers get lazy and they all follow this narrative and they just, they don't know. They're not around here. Very few national writers travel anymore because papers don't pay for it anymore. Years ago in the 90s, every paper would send a reporter to the visiting teams, cover them Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now no one does that. We talked to Wentz just after the game. Didn't see him today. Dax Mill returning both kicks and punts. Not doing too bad a job, says Michael. Yeah, absolutely. And I think one guy is great, gives you roster flexibility. and it gives them more chances to develop a rhythm. They're very different things. Kickoffs, you got time, to see what's coming at you. Punts is suicide squad stuff. Brian Mitchell did such a great job at that. People don't appreciate how good Brian was. Brian should be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe one day he'll make it there. We'll just have to see. All right. Keep a few people. Well, we're already 39 minutes into this. That's the thing. I never bring anything to prepare to talk about because you guys just go question, which is cool. This is a chance for you to do it. I think some other beat writers, having seen what I'm doing, I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing it more too. Because it's a way to engage with the fans. And Rich Chandler kind of taught me to do this better. So I don't mind. And I like that you just get to ask a question versus say something, because God knows what some of you would say. Okay. Steve says, I'm amazed at how many people rated Wentz based on what Jim Irsay thought. Yeah, I wonder what Irsay thought yesterday of that tie. Yeah, Irsay. I knew his old man. Anytime someone is second all time in yards should be in the Hall of Fame, says JH. Absolutely. I don't have a problem with that at all. And he was a baller. I like Doc Walker's new show too. Doc's a baller, man. Doc just wants to pick up a sword and come at you. Hank says, can we accept that the team is more of a passing offense than running? Well, you better, because that's what it's going to be. I mean, look at all those weapons. But you need some balance to keep teams from dropping back everybody on you. So, that's the trick. Let them think you might. Paul, do you think Alabama won that game Saturday, or the ref gave it to them? Didn't see it. I don't watch a lot of college football because Saturday is like half a free day. And at my point in life, I want to have a little free time off too. I mean, we don't live forever. So at some point, you got to quit working all the time. So I don't watch a lot. I watch Maryland a little bit when I can because I'm a Maryland grad. JBWC, going to be one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. Definitely, I think, top 5. They could be a top 5 receiver core if they all stay healthy. And so does Wentz. Daniel, what's the big key to being a successful season is keeping the players healthy. Look at the injuries around week 1. Yeah, I mean, J.J. Watt may be gone with a torn pec. Probably is. He wants to get a second and third opinion. So maybe he tries to tough it out for a few weeks, but it's hard. Hard to play with a torn pec. That kind of position. And it's just like ripping your chest. JH, how's my health? Doing well, JH. I appreciate it. I've talked about it before. They thought I had a stroke earlier this year. I'm laying on the ground and can't move. And turned out I had a couple of discs in my back that were messing with the nerves, and it basically was a nerve spasm kind of thing. So I'm okay. I just have to watch my back a little bit, which I'm moving and I'm carrying too many heavy boxes. And the other day I had to pick up a power washer. It was a couple 100 pounds and put it in the back of my truck. And they were like, you shouldn't do that. I didn't see anybody else volunteering to help. Where were you guys? I could have used some help. So I don't know. I'm sure it'll bite me once in a while again, but getting old sucks, man. It's not for sissies, I'll tell you that much. But heart-wise and all, they did all these tests on me after that, thinking I had a stroke. I'm doing great otherwise on that. And if any of you have sleep apnea, they said, you got a little bit. Why don't you try this CPAP machine? I've been doing it for 2 weeks. It's not as bad as I feared. I'm not sure it's helping, but it's not hurting and it's not crazy. So if you have medical problems, listen to Rick, who is as dumb as it gets and has been through a lot. Go get it fixed. Go to the dentist. Go do these things. Don't be a sissy. All right, David says, what happened to DeForest when K. Curl returns? Well, good ballers tend to find the field. So I would think, well, obviously Curl's going to get back on there, but Forrest won't be left on the bench. Good players, they'll find a way to get you on that field. Maybe I play a different spot, but if you can play like that, you're getting games. All right, who wins a fight? Jack Kent Cook or Dan Snyder? Well, Jack was in his 80s, so I guess I'm going to have to favor Dan. But by God, that would be can we do a pay-per-view of that? I saw Adrian Peterson get knocked down. Man, AP. I hope that I heard it was over money. I don't know if it was, but I hope it wasn't. AP had some money troubles. I hope he's not doing this for that. Have I met Snyder before? Asked JH. Yeah, I had a cell phone number when he first started as an owner. Then he got mad at the media, and I haven't talked to him He doesn't talk to us one on one anymore. He doesn't talk to us as a group very much anymore. He basically talks to anybody he thinks would be a friendly interview and not give him a hard time. I'm sorry, I have a few questions I'd like answered. So, hey, Congress had to subpoena him to talk. He doesn't have to talk to us, so that's the way it goes. Michael says Tanya wins that fight. I wouldn't know about that one. JH, any inside stuff that hadn't been reported? Oh yeah, JH, man, which parts do you want? Let me just open the secret file. Um, if I'm not reporting it, sometimes I keep things to myself for different reasons. But no, we uh, we pretty much tell you what we know as best we can. But sometimes it's nobody's business about something. If it's a personal thing, then I don't rat players out. Used to go drinking with players before cell phone cameras came around, and you could go at the bar. Whatever happened, stayed in the bar. I I always told them, as long as the cops aren't called, I'm not writing about whatever happens. I've seen player fights in bars. I've seen all kind of stuff happening. But now that everybody has a cell phone camera, players are afraid to be around the media and public in general because bad behavior gets caught on film. So sorry that you can't act badly, you know. But I guess I'm too old. Some of these, I'm almost grandfather's age. Some of these guys, it's scary. All right, one other, Jamin Davis. How do we feel Jamin Davis played? Um, Fat Papa Itzy, whatever it is. You think he's becoming phenomenal? Well, I think he's getting better. I don't know if he'll ever be phenomenal, but I think he could be okay. Marcus says week one was good and crazy, just the way I like it. Well, there you go. I mean, who likes boring blowout wins? So put a little drama in it. I mean, why not? Marcus, am I watching Thursday night's Chiefs Chargers? I probably will watch that one. I like NFC football better than AFC. I know there's probably no real difference, but some reason I like watching NFC teams better. But those are two great teams, so I'll watch some. I don't watch as much sports anymore as people might think. There's more to life beyond the goalpost, as we used to tell Joe Gibbs way back. Gibbs never saw anything past the goalpost for a long time. Does now. Now he sees NASCAR. What's the ceiling for the offense if you remain healthy, Mojo Daddy Mystic? If it goes like the other day, top 10. I think they'll win their share of some higher scoring games. Paul thinks the O-line looked fantastic. I thought they were kind of ragged in spots, but they did the job on that. Fat Papa Vitsy, I don't know how to say her name. I was at the game and would have never been to a game with that big a crowd. It was amazing. I remember the days when they were like 90,000. It's hard to get in and out, in and out. SB says USA, USA. There you go. That's the best country in the world. We have a lot of people that follow from Europe. A lot of fans. I have a couple hundred on my Twitter account. And there were a bunch of guys from the UK that were here for this game this weekend. I know at least 10 that came over. Do you ever feel like it's not the same anymore watching the team after rebranding? Asked JH. A little. I get what you're saying there. I mean, the football team was an interim thing to get over the shock. And I write a lot of history about things, and I have to say, well, the best Redskins guy, it feels weird. And it's going to feel weird probably the rest of my life. But the young kids, it's about the young fans not knowing the other stuff. They said anything about Bruce Allen's Congress meeting? Asked Ronnie. The only thing I heard was there were no bombshells in it, but I haven't heard anything else about it. So which means there probably wasn't. Nothing leaked. All right. Fat says fits like Larry Fitzgerald. Well, who didn't? I have the same excitement, but part of it has died from the rebrand, says JH. Yeah, I mean, I get that. But winning will bring it back. Listen, everybody says things, but start winning, people do it. Will this be my last year covering the team? Mojo asks. Will I continue to do the videos? I don't know to both of those questions. My life has changed so much in the last few years for so many things beyond my control that I don't know. I always say God takes me where I need to go. It may not be where I want to go, but it works out for the best. So I don't know. I want to finish this season, and but that's also incumbent upon people hiring me to cover the team. And I'm still with a couple groups, but it's the media world is really in trouble financially, and guys like me disappear. Who plays nickel, Curl or D Force? Asked Paul. Curl. Okay. Kevin says, Have they made any improvements to the stadium since last year? Yeah, they got a whole new thing of duct tape for that one rail, so that's good. They put new trash cans around a leak in the mezzanine, so that worked out fine. Other than that, I saw some cosmetic things. They put up a lot of artwork around the stadium. They created a legend zone where you can go meet some old players, which is cool. Saw a lot. Doug Williams met with a lot of people. They were happy to see him. That was cool. They expanded, I think, the stadium store. They had a lot more clerks. So they're trying. They're trying to make it a better fan experience. But it's still an old place. Jeff says the first time I thought there were issues with the Redskins was the GSS patch. I'm thinking, why do you get to put personal thoughts on your jersey? Yeah, it is kind of weird. But that's the new world now. Your players want to have a say in things so much more than when, you know, being in my 60s when I was a young man, you did whatever the coach said, and that was the way it went. But that's not how it goes anymore. All right, you do what your boss tells you. And it doesn't necessarily like that anymore. What I think of the band, Mojo Daddy, I thought I couldn't hear them. There's only 60 people now. There used to be 120. They cut it in half. And I couldn't honestly barely hear them in the stands area. And maybe they need more people to generate a bigger sound. That would really surprise me about yesterday. But they were marching in different groups and all. I could see they were trying. They had percussion section on the mezz after the game playing. That was cool. So they're trying. What can I tell you about the older days of football? It says N64 Dog. I would tell you to buy my book, 100 Things Commander Stands. I know you, but you guys only last 8 minutes, so you probably haven't seen this. That's my new book right there on the website, Monumental Thoughts. I mean, I tell you some stories, but it'd take a while, so we'll get to it. JH, the fight song is so cheesy. Yeah, I just don't like the pace that they play it. Fight for, I mean, oh my God, did somebody die? You know, they need to change it up a little bit. Otherwise, the words are practically the same. And people are going to sing Hail to the Redskins anyway, so let them. Can't have thought police. So do the outlet store for the team is the Redskins when talking about team history. It's been a fine line. I'm trying to figure out how to do it too. No, they usually say Commanders, though. A lot of guys that I've seen mention it. Mojo says winning cures a lot. Yeah, absolutely. N64 Dog as stadium operations are memorable teams. It's too broad. Sorry. I mean, I can tell you, RFK Stadium was just smelled like old wet dog on a good day. But it was winning makes a house a home, so that's why people loved it so much. I wish that I don't know if the new stadium will have it. There's talk about having bouncing stands or something. That would be cool on there. The new stadium's got to be a futuristic thing. Now, that was Jack Kent Cook's big mistake. He built FedEx like Giant Stadium in the past, but it didn't hold up. It didn't age well. And now the future is about 60,000 with a totally different fan base looking for enhanced experiences more than a game. It's a very different people in the crowd now watching the game. They look at different things than we look at. Let's see, Jay. Why is the Blackhawks logo okay, but ours wasn't? Why is the Chiefs logo and stuff okay? Yeah, because the liberal elite ganged up on the Redskins because it was an easy one to do, and Dan Snyder didn't have enough points around the league to fight it off. So I think it's unfair too. Fat says, how do you feel about Chase and B-Rob? Are they going to do their first games back in week 5? I don't know. I think you don't want to rush Chase back. I think it could be a little longer for Chase, but we'll see. Andy says, new stadium for sure in Woodbridge. I'll give that $1 billion to 1, but I'm not taking odds on it, but bets on it. But no, it's going to probably be next to Landover. They're the only people offering anything. Blackhawk is not a racial slur by anyone's definition, says Michael. Okay, I don't really know much about the hockey team. But it's still an Indian, and they're not supposed to use their culture for our images. So I'm part Cherokee, but didn't grow up Indian, so I don't have anything to say about it. Derek says, I hope they keep Charles Leno around a while. Seems like a great teammate player. Yeah, really impressed with the guy. Good guy. They made him a team captain, which players vote for. And I think he's doing a fine job. It's a different Indian head, Michael says. Okay. There's an Indian Head, Maryland, in Southern Maryland, where I live, and they wanted to change the name because the Indian Head was heads of Indians in the colonial days that were put on a pike by the colonists. And they had a big fight about it recently, and they didn't change it or the highway, but it'll come again. Duplicate copy besides some colors and features, Jage. Yeah, probably. All right, Michael. The same people who went after the Redskins are now after the Chiefs and Blackhawks. So it's America. Go do what you want to do. You're free to have your own opinion. Marvin, how many wins this year? 9. I'll go at 9 right now, which means they go 500 the rest of the way. What part of Virginia is the new stadium going to be built? Asked Paul. Nowheresville, Virginia. It's staying in Maryland. It's not going to D.C. where there was a news station did a report. They basically said they looked at it but found they couldn't use it. Okay, so that means it's not being used. Plus, the D.C. politicians don't want to spend the money. So Maryland's got money on the board. Virginia doesn't at this point. We'll see. Let's see. Andy Berry. Dawson chases down balls like Santana used to. Yeah, I mean he's got great hands and he can go. He tracks the ball very well. That's probably his best asset. Who felt offended, JH? Wow, that's a long conversation. Read the book, man. You'll be able to tell. The last catch was awesome, especially for a rookie. Yeah, not afraid, Steve. He's not afraid to succeed. Some guys are a little afraid in the big room, but he's not one of them. Marvin, I hope they don't move the stadium to Woodbridge or Loudoun County. Me either, but quite frankly, I won't be covering games by then, so play where you want. I have no skin in this game. But I think it's a bad spot. The traffic and all, I just think that would be dumb. Dumb. Who felt offended? One time I had to do a story in the Dakotas, and I was on a Sioux Indian reservation. It was about racehorses and totally different thing. But while I was having dinner, sitting around this guy's table with a bunch of the, American Indians, I said, "What do you think of Redskins? Does this bother you?" And they basically laughed and said, "Football's stupid." And they didn't even pay attention to it. Okay. These are the people we're talking about. They didn't care. Now it's just one group. But I mean, the polls have consistently said they don't really worry about it. JH, I'd pump my brakes on Dotson. He's amazing, but I need to consistently. Well, okay, we'll give him time. But good hands are good hands, man. As long as he stays healthy, he'll be fine on this. Paul says, could these receivers be as good as Mark, Clunk, and Sanders? No, because Monk was the all-time, leading receiver, number of catches when he retired. Gary, if you add his USFL ones, was about 800 catches, so right behind Monk. Sanders, I think it was like 400 some. But they could be very good. It's apples and orange comparison. Different game back then too. But they could have just as much success, at least short term. Long term, we'll see. It's hard for players in the current NFL, to have long careers in one place for so many reasons. And that wasn't around when Monk, Clark, Sanders. There wasn't, so much this free agency and all these salary cap problems and all these things. Jay said Gary Clark was his dad's favorite player. Cool. My dad's favorite player was Frank Howard on the Senators. He thought football was dumb too. All right, Hank, will the defense get more sacks this week against Goff? He's not as mobile as Lawrence. Well, I agree with that. I don't know. How many sacks did they have against this past week? Anybody know? I got the thing right here. Oh, anyway. I'd say it's fair chance on that. So we got a few minutes left. Anybody wants to hit the thanks button last chance, but I appreciate it. If you're watching this on replay or you missed earlier and you want to watch more, this gets archived on YouTube and we'll be right back as soon as we finish this. Give it a minute. You can go back and see the beginning on everything on there. Why are the Commanders underdogs against the Lions? I think because the Lions scored 35 and they're at home. So that's my guess. I noticed that Dak Prescott's injury, I got a release from one of the bookmakers that said Cincinnati against Dallas this coming week. It was Dallas -2. It was then moved to Cincinnati -7, a 9-point swing because of Dak. I don't know the last time I saw a player move line 9 points. And the over-under went down, I think, 6 or 7. That's pretty amazing. Do I think Del Rio will be in the hot seat at the end of the season? Asked Kevin. Tell me what the record is. If they make the playoffs, no. If they don't make the playoffs, yes. Um, you got to let this all play out. We're so busy to run through everything to the end, but enjoy life while you're doing it. That's the fun part. I enjoy the season because every week is something new challenge. And the off season, I look forward to the off season just to get some rest, and then I look forward to the season to see the games. So it's an unending cycle. It's not much of an off season anymore, anyway, with free agency and the draft and all that camps. Will the defense hold up this week? I think they'll limit Detroit into the 20s, and I think Washington can win something like 24-21, 27-21. That might be my pick. But I don't really pick till Friday. I want to see what goes on. You never know who wakes up sore and by Wednesday is on a cast. Just never know. Marvin, I hope to start 4-0. I hope to go 17-0. Then we'll have thousands of people in here watching this. That would be cool. Are they better than the Eagles week 1, Augustine? Don't know. Do I think the Cowboys make the trade for a quarterback? I would not be surprised. But, if Dak's coming back mid-season, you don't want to ransom something that is a short-term rental. I guess they'll see how the backup does this week. He's barely played in the NFL, but see what happens. JH hopes to put a 40 burger on him. Wow. Okay. That'd be cool. My live streaming the Detroit game, Paul asked. No, I'm watching the game and I'm working. So I can't, I tweet a lot, but I can't do this. It's just too hard. I only have one brain. It's already taxed. I'm doing Twitter and doing notes and sometimes taking pictures and all that kind of junk. So, yeah. Steve just chipped in 5. I appreciate it, Steve. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Open your wallet. Open your heart. I don't know. Okay, Rick. Hank says, I truly enjoy these live feeds every week. Well, I actually enjoy them too. And the new videos. I put up 2 or 3 videos a day, 2 minutes, because that's all the attention span anybody has. So, yeah. I like doing the videos. I never was a TV guy. I've always been a print guy. But we have to adjust to the new world, and that's a great way for me to reach out because people won't read stories so much, but they'll watch the 2-minute videos. So it's like I write my lead and you get to read it. Augustine said Detroit's gritty, grotesque. I would agree with that, Augustine. Anthony, do you think the O-line played well this week? I think I give them around a C. I probably am too hard on them. They didn't give up many. Sacks, I'd probably being hard on them. The Great Watubi's here and then threw in some money. Thanks, Great Watubi. I'll stay extra for you. If you have a question, hit it. I like the name. Man, you guys have great names. They have funny stuff. I have boring stuff. If the team can improve consistently from week to week, good things can happen. Absolutely. You have to grow during the season. And that's the hard part. I was watching Buffalo play the Rams. Sorry, great game. And I thought, well, you want to say this is the 2 teams at the end of the season that could play again for the Super Bowl. But it's a long season, and you don't know what's going to happen. It's often who survives the injuries a lot, too. Ask Dallas. Their season just went kablooey, just like Washington's did last year, except this is even worse. Ooh, JH, we threw in big change. Thank you so much. Now I can have that burger this week. But I do appreciate it. Let's see. Augustine, your reporting is cool to listen to. Thanks. So, because it's unbiased and valid. I have no agendas. I just tell you what I think. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. It's like I tell people on tours when I do it. He told us so much stuff. Yeah, most of it's true, too. So, do I think Carson throws for more than 4 touchdowns in any game going forward, Zach asked. It's asking an awful lot. By the way, Sammy Ball threw 5 in a game. They often talk about the 4 matches, other people. Sammy Ball threw 5. Dan Daly, the great historian I used to work with at the Washington Times, tweeted that out. Dan's great to follow on the YouTube. The Great Watubi, we're 1.5-point underdogs now. Okay, went down more, so betting Dallas. Anthony says, how about that Alabama-Texas game? Didn't see it. I just can't always watch college ball. I just don't have time. I am busy as a busy person right now because I'm getting ready to move to a new home next month. And there's just anybody that's ever bought a home, had it built, could tell you there's a million details. They called me today and said, "Hey, we need you to approve the sidewalk pattern." I was like, "What? Isn't it just straight and over?" No, no, we're going to do all, So I had to take time out to figure that out. So I just don't have time to watch a lot of college ball. I watch a few minutes here and there. Vegas odds are for Vegas to make money. Yeah, they're basically to get you to go half on each, pay the 10% vigorous handling fee, and they break even and take your 10%. The Giants look better than expected, said Steve. They might finish ahead of Dallas. Well, I wouldn't go so fast with that yet. you know. Jay's custom home. Yes, it is. And that's where your $20 is going for. You need to buy me some light bulbs. Beige. Oh, love the name. $10. Thank you, Beige. Next, Hovermail's run. Another Hovermail. I have gone to Hovermail's, an ice cream stand in Oxon Hill, about 10 minutes off the Beltway. I have gone there since 1962. So this is my 60th year eating ice cream there. I've only been there a couple of times this summer, but soft serve, great ice cream. Go to Hovermail's. Any others? There's a Hershey's ice cream place in Georgetown, right next to the theater, down on K Street. I like theirs a lot on there. Actually, my grandkids made me stop the ice cream truck and buy them ice cream. And I asked the guy, I said, "Do you have a Choco Taco?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "I heard you're getting rid of them, and I never had one, so I ate one just to try it. It was good." Do I think that the 2 interceptions for Wentz were dumb or tough plays? I think it was one of each. Defender did a great job on one, and then the other one was a dumb play. Do I think the coach regret trading Wentz for Ryan? Great What TV says. No, because they don't regret anything, They're just being bullheaded. And I'm not a Irsay fan. Didn't like his dad. Not much on him. And I don't think he talked bad about people after they're gone like that. That showed me no class. Tear down, rebuild, or run some land. I am building on new land, 3 acres. I'll have my new studio at the place. You'll see a different look. I've taken one of the bedrooms because all my kids are grown, and I'm going to turn it into a studio and do some different YouTube work. I'm hoping to do a series called 52 Questions with God, about questions that with clerics that we talk about that aren't really in the Bible. Like the Bible says that there are things in heaven better than sex. Really? Let's talk about that for a minute. What you got? So I'm going to put these guys on the line and let them, try and tell me what these things are, and they're serious questions, and I hope to have real answers, but, something we can appreciate rather than just sitting in, for an hour and listening to a reverend say nothing. I actually help a friend of mine who's a reverend write his sermons every week because I wanted to make them more interesting for him, and he learned and did a great job. What's the best pizza in DC? Mojo Daddy asked. I do like Pizza Paradiso in Georgetown. They make exotic, different kinds, but everybody's got different stuff now. I liked Detroit for a while, but I'm getting a little tired of that. Could I see us making a trade for an upgrade before the deadline? Ask Augustine. No, I don't see them. They're really not ones to do that. Much love from Arlington, Virginia. Marvin says, "Thank you, Marvin. Appreciate it." Oh, great. Watubi threw in a couple more bucks. Thank you, Watubi. Score for the Lions game. Washington 27 and Detroit 23. I think I've had 2 different scores already in this cast. I'm right down. I think Washington wins by a few points. Anthony says, have I ever thought about making the 2-minute things longer? I do occasionally, but not too often because a couple of things. One, I do the video also on Twitter. They have a 2:20 limit for how long you can go. So that's a big reason. Also, analytics on YouTube shows that you watch it for 90 seconds, not 2 minutes. So if I talk more, I'd be talking to myself. But I do have the Seasons of Discontent podcast. It's now on my channel. We do 15-minute shows with my buddy Matt. We're just posting one tonight, Monday and Thursday nights. And we talk about things a lot more. So Seasons of Discontent. And you'll see it on here. Am I going on a road game this year, Paul asked. Probably not. Nobody pays me to travel anymore. So got things to do. I've been everywhere 10 times, and once you've done that, it kind of loses it a little. How worried am I about the Lions game? I'd say it's a 50-50 game and who doesn't screw it up, which is true of most NFL games. Zach watches Seasons of Discontent. Thanks. Yeah, Matt Care. I've known Matt since he was 5. He just turned 40 last week. So If you see the show last week, he opened my gift to him. It was a box of best wishes. Zach likes the. Oh yeah, Matt came up with that one. Favorite country I've traveled to, JH asked. Oh wow, that's a good question. I've been to 21 countries. Um, I did the Baltic Sea as a cruise a couple years ago, and I was in Stockholm, met friends there, and we spent the day walking. Stockholm, I thought pretty awesome. Edinburgh in Scotland is awesome. The Baltic Sea is all these, like Poland, Germany. Did all that Helsinki. We were in Russia. The weird part is everybody there loves Americans and speaks English because they're afraid of Russia. And in Russia, the street vendors all wanted my U.S. dollars. They didn't want their money. They didn't want euros. They wanted dollars. I don't know what kind of underground economy goes on there. But St. Petersburg was really a great visit too. I love traveling because honestly, people are the same wherever you go. They speak differently, but we all just want to live in peace and make a living. All right, Paul says, where's the Preakness going to be next year? I don't know. Let's talk about moving it to Laurel. Until I see him do it, I won't believe it till then. The Great Watubi, Thailand and Ireland are awesome. I've been to Ireland. I love Belfast. I thought it was very interesting. Probably my favorite part. But there's a guy down near Waterford. Is that what it is? The Crystal Waterford. There was a guy from New York, Long Island, who retired and bought a bar called the Saratoga right there on the Irish Sea. And we had so much fun at that place, seeing the ocean. And it was a local joint. And they took us there. It was awesome. So if you ever get to do that, Saratoga. Will there be a Dallas Thanksgiving game next year? Asked Anthony. It would be probable because they do it every few years. I've been to Dallas for that game a couple times. And, it's no fun as a writer, I'll tell you that much. It's great for you. It's stuck for me. Michael's been to Scotland. It was not free. Yeah, well, the Euro is doing better now, of course. I've been to Germany, asked Kevin. Just once I was in, is it Gdansk? Or, no, that's Poland. I'm sorry. I was in some small place off the Baltic Sea that we went to see, a medieval town, and then got back on a cruise ship. So I didn't get to see much of Germany, but I have been there. JH is going to Switzerland. Love to see that. Waterford, yeah, it's Great Watubi, Waterford, like the crystal. We saw the Waterford Crystal Factory. So Rick takes his show now to traveling with Rick. Been to Japan. I was with the team in Osaka when they played there in 02, 01. What was it? 01. No, 02. 02. I had a heart attack 2 weeks later. But that was interesting just to go see Japan and wander through. No idea what I ate for a few days, but luckily I was okay. Well, we only had a handful of writers. We would walk the town together when we weren't working. And when you're 16 hours ahead, everything is so weird. But we were at a diner that had no way of ordering. Only how to order. So I pointed to the guy sitting next to us and put my hand up for 4 of those. And we ate what he ate. And I was just said, please don't be something weird. But I don't even know what it was. But we had a good time. It was a chance to see the world for free, man. I enjoyed it. Ever do a river cruise? No, I have not. Great Watuga. We were going to, and then they had the drought a few years ago that wouldn't let them work that well. So Europe's under a big drought. And so I hear river cruises are great. My wife wanted to go. I was willing, but we went to the Baltic Sea instead on Norwegian Cruise Lines, and it was awesome. Did like 7 countries. I saw Iceland going home. Iceland was interesting to see once. And London, I always like to go to London when I come over. Next time I go over to London, I am drinking free on everybody who follows me on the team. And I want to see a Premier League darts match, and see and yell 180 like we're all drunk. We probably will be. That's what, if you ever see them, they're on like BBC America. They play darts matches. There's like 1,000 people in the hall, drunk as all, cheering this darts match that to watch on a board. It's basically going there just with your buds and get drunk and have fun. What can I say? The Junkie Show. Let me see. I thought I got I do have a tab. Yes, I'll be on the Junkies tomorrow at 7 a.m. There you go. See, that's right there. 7 a.m. Okay. I'm up. So I will be on the Junks tomorrow morning. I go whenever they ask me, and as long as I can make it. I think I've done the Junkies. Well, since they started, I was their first guest of the media, I think. So I don't know, a couple hundred times or more. So it's I know the guys. I actually didn't meet a couple of them in person until a couple years ago at training camp. We talked for 20 years, but I never met Lurch or Cakes. But I met them all now. They seem like they're having fun guys. I like EB and JP. Viking Cruise the Bomb. I've heard that great one too. They send me catalogs like once a week, maybe one day. I think my next trip, my wife and I are retiring more or less next year. Thinking I have 5 states to go, and so I'd like to go to Alaska and Hawaii, and then we're thinking about going to New Zealand. As long as we're in Hawaii, might as well keep going. I'd like to see New Zealand on everything, um, and so travel is a lot of fun. Hopefully the pandemic will stop and all this stuff, and we can go back to our lives again. So, and will it be a full retirement? I don't know. We'll see who wants me to write for them or whatever. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. I think I've had a job for 50 years somewhere. 44 in the media, been a great ride. Have no complaints on it. Well, I wish I'd made a little more money, but other than that, media people don't make the money you guys think we do, and that's why they have food at press conferences on there. My first job at JH, my first job was I was 12 delivering a paper. And I worked in a restaurant for several years, and at 18, I worked as a stringer for a little a little newspaper, a weekly paper in Southern Maryland. And I got to the Washington Times when I was 25 and started covering racing. And occasionally, I'd be the young punk reporter helping out Redskin guys. By my early 30s, I became a beat writer and left the Times, joined the Examiner as a columnist, and I was at the Post Express for a while. And we got laid off. Examiner and Post. So, it's and now I work at Odyssey.com, 1067 The Fan, and I write columns for them some, and I write for others. So it's like Steve says, maybe people want to buy the book. There are a lot of great stories in here. They're all 800 words, so they're short attention spans. It takes you like 5 minutes to read each one, I guess. Wear some chapstick. You can read with your lips. Jay said, was layoff during the '08 crisis? I don't remember. Got laid off by the Examiner in 13. So I wasn't 08, no. 2013, we got laid off by the Examiner. 2019 by the Post Express, which is part of the Post. Was working for some different groups during the pandemic and got let go. Oh well, there's a time for everything. I sound like I'm whiny now. It's just the way it goes. All right, it's 9:16. Any last questions? Any last funds? I'm already over, but I got nothing else to do except go to sleep. So I'm gonna go watch the Game of Thrones Dragon show. You didn't get to see it last night. Anybody watch the other one, the Tolkien one that's on Fridays now? I was a little disappointed with the last one, but with the Hobbits and all that. What year did the internet kill newspapers? First noticed. The internet started getting big in the late '90s, and we were fearing it. But people said, "Oh, this is all going to happen." We thought, "Nah." But I'd say about maybe 10 years ago, it really started hurting us. What really hurt us is hedge funds kept buying newspapers, strip the assets, take the money, and kill the paper. Happened a lot, and it's still happening a lot for newspapers. So, I mean, there's papers that barely have anybody left on there. They have a couple reporters or something. It's just the way it goes. We can't make people read us. We need a cornerback in the draft next year for sure, says Anthony. I'll start looking at the draft late November. Until then, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't even know who it would be on everything. So, all right. It seems like you guys got tired. I know I am. Thank you all for coming so much. I appreciate it. MightyMailThoughts.com if you want to do that, or you can see me on Twitter too, and here on YouTube with videos all the time. So I'll have an interesting one in the morning, but I don't remember what it was about. Who knows? I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thanks for coming. I'll see you again soon. Bye, guys. Let's see. How do I end this? Here it is.